Have you ever wanted to make editing less painful? That's the topic I'm addressing today in The Right Question. I'm Daphne Gray Grant, the publication coach. I have a question from Emma White, a writer based in Oxford, Ohio. Here's what she asked by email. The more I write, the more I realize how much of the technique of producing good work is through iterating and editing. I struggle with editing since I feel I can do it all day as I'm dyslexic, and I fear it is a weakness. I'm familiar with John McPhee's theory of not expecting anything great until draft number 4, but how do I balance sticking to editing if I would rather be writing and seeking novelty? Thanks for your question, Emma. You're making me think of a statistic I frequently quote. Some 80% of the people I work with love editing and dislike writing. But the remaining 20% are just like you. They love writing and they dislike editing. But dislike is way too mild a word. Hate, detest, loathe, abhor, despise. All of those words would be much closer to the truth. I wish I could tell you why this is so, but I expect it's genetic. Asking me to explain it is like asking me why I was born a short brunette. But just as hair dye could turn me into a redhead or a blonde, I think my suggestions could help you become a happier editor. Here's my advice. 1. Stop thinking of editing as boring and repetitive. Instead, see it as a chance to make your writing more appealing for your readers. View your editing self as a superhero who's going to save the world from boredom and confusion. This is about way more important stuff than fixing spelling and grammar. It's about meaning and interest. There's nothing dull about those two things. 2. Take a good long break before editing. For long-form projects like books or dissertations, I suggest taking a minimum of 6 weeks. For more deadline-oriented stuff like blog posts or essays, I suggest taking at least a couple of days. If you are too close to the material, you won't be able to edit it properly. You need a certain distance and perspective before you can do the job well. 3. Approach editing with very specific goals in mind. I find that many people simply read and reread their text with the vague hope of making it better. This is frustrating and unrewarding and usually ineffective. 4. Do a substantive or developmental edit first. This is an edit in which you address the content. Have you explained everything you need to clearly and convincingly? Have you answered all the questions your readers are likely to have? Have you presented it all in the best order? Is it interesting and engaging enough? Here's a quick way to remember what substantive editing is all about. It requires analysis, and it's based on judgment rather than just the application of rules. 5. Last of all, copy edit. Copy editing is all about applying rules, and you can use your computer to help you do it. In the notes below, I provide a link to a blog post I've written on how to make your copy editing more effective. One additional tip might make a big difference for you, Emma. Figure out what time of day is best for you. Whenever I have to do something I'm not very enthusiastic about, I know it's important that I do it before 11 a.m., even earlier if possible. But we're all different, so be sure to identify a time that works for you. And remember to give yourself a reward for finishing, perhaps a specialty coffee or a chunk of really good quality chocolate. Finally, let me wrap up with a quote from the poet and essayist T.S. Eliot. Some editors are failed writers, but so are most writers. Emma, editing is hard work for some people, but don't make it worse for yourself by dreading it. Resolve to find whatever enjoyment you can by approaching it as a reasonable and doable task. If you'd like to learn how to make writing a happier task for yourself, check out my new book, Your Happy First Draft. It's not available in bookstores or by Amazon. The only place to get it is my website, link below.